Welcome back to Black Hat 2025. It's day 2. We're still here recording live from the Cyber studio at Mandalay Bay in lovely, hot Las Vegas, Nevada. Smoke's a little better today, but it's still a little hazy. I'm your host, Matt Alderman, and joining me for this interview segment is Rohit Dhamankar. He is the Vice President of Product Strategy at Fortra. Welcome, Rohit.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I've had your boss on before. I love John. We've had a lot of great conversations. It's a pleasure to have you on. We're going to talk about offensive security. Why? What's going on with offensive security? Why is it now becoming more of a hot topic? I had a conversation about this yesterday, actually.
You know, whenever anything becomes a hot topic in security, usually there is some kind of compliance push behind it. It is a sad thing, in a sense, but that's what is happening. The compliance is now pushing offensive security as an essential part of, regulatory compliances through multiple different channels.
So once it becomes a mandate and a regulatory requirement, like, I don't know, say vulnerability management, now a bunch of people start to build companies around it. But you guys already have capabilities here, obviously, in this space. What's driving the need for this to be embedded into regulations?
I think, first of all, let me tell you that, and you have been in this industry for a while, when something comes to a regulatory compliance, it's a little too late already, the need for it. Mm-hmm. And let me give you an example. Earlier this year, we had the new PCI DSS 4.0 emerge, and it said you have to protect client-side scripts now with PCI DSS compliance. But if you remember, there were MageCart attacks that were 6 years before. So the need for having that really across the board was almost 5 to 6 years ago.
Right.
And it takes a while, and I'm not dinging here any compliance standard, but it takes a while for it to get into the regulatory compliance. So I think in the first place that the offensive security needs are a must today. And they are getting attention, of course, now with more regulatory compliances. And again, not just in the US, this is across the globe. So you have compliances in UK, compliances actually in EU, compliances in Asia that are driving this need.
Got it. Now, offensive security, people think of penetration testing and red teaming. They're not exactly the same. So are those the two kind of components that are they specifically mandated that way? Like you have to do annual pen testing or quarterly pen testing and you need to do red teaming? Is it one or the other?
So I think pen testing has been a part of some of the compliances, and now red team is getting on the bandwagon as well.
Got it.
There is a difference between the two. If you think about pen testing, they are more like logs. So it's like testing your logs, right? So people go and deploy lots of security controls across their entire environment, as you know. And now the need is growing because now there's a lot more cloud, SaaS, etc. So there are security controls all over the place. Pen testing is testing those controls. Are they working or not?
Right.
However, red teaming is completely different from that. It is attacking the environment with an attacker's mindset. And as we were just talking about before we started the interview, this is such an asymmetric thing that the attackers have to find one small hole to get in. And so the red teaming exercises are meant for really simulating the actual attack the way they happen.
Right.
They're not just testing your logs. They're testing actually how you get in.
Right. Can I move laterally? Can I get somewhere else? Can I get another foothold, et
Correct.
cetera?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they're testing the entire sort of kill chain in the process. And the beauty of it, in a sense, is so far, if you look at it, the security industry and especially the auditors, we all survived on hope. And by hope, I mean, people said, yeah, I have my security controls in place. My environment is secure. I have this firewall. I have that next generation technology across the board, et cetera, et cetera. And there was no proof given to saying, okay, does it really work? Does it really work at the time of need, right? And so when you think about now the pen testing, red teaming, the offensive security as a whole, that's the equation it's bringing. So your auditors can ask you saying, okay, you're telling me your security controls, your defensive controls are in place. Show me the proof that they are working.
Yeah.
Show me that you have done something about it to know their efficacy.
But quarterly or annual pen testing isn't enough. So I've seen this emergence of continuous penetration testing, right? And so we've seen this from a few different vendors in the space because things are changing every single day, actually multiple times a day. If we think about where we are with DevOps and how applications are deployed and where our assets are all over the place, things are constantly changing. So how do you speak towards this concept and need for continuous penetration testing? And then I want to go into the red teaming side a little bit, but how important is it to test often?
So I think in today's environment, and especially, as you mentioned, there are code changes that are happening like multiple times a day, you know, the continuous part becomes very important. But at the same time, I don't want to overwhelm people with that need saying, oh, I need to do continuous now. So it's like, as you know, security, basically there is a maturity curve. You start with something, you kind of track your strategy, make sure that everybody's aligned on that strategy, including your board. They understand what the risks from that strategy are, and then you mature. And so to me, if somebody is not really doing the pen testing or red teaming today, start there, right? I mean, at least do twice a year, 4 times a year, whatever your frequency is. And then you evolve your system, evolve your processes, people, to doing the more continuous approach. Yeah. But continuous approach in my mind is necessary today. Very much, again, a necessary thing. Although, again, a lot of these compliance and regulatory mandates will not say such a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they're probably going to say annual or quarterly or whatever.
In 5 years, they might say that.
Yeah, they might.
Yeah.
Maybe we get them to continuous. So now let's talk about the nuances of red teaming, because red teaming now requires people in the mix, right? And so people are taking the data, they're traversing the network, they're figuring out the moves. That gets a little more resource intensive to do, and therefore probably gets a little harder when it comes to continuous red teaming, doesn't it? Because you probably can't afford all those resources to constantly be red teaming the entire environment. So what are the strategies you see around frequency and scope for red teaming?
So I think I would say that in terms of red teaming, you're correct. You do need that expertise for breaking into the environments to try to figure out all the paths that are open and then kind of bring that to light. However, again, these are also your skilled resources.
Mm-hmm. Highly skilled
resources.
Yeah.
These are not available, for every organization. So again, to me,
you saw one of them walk out the door before this interview. H.D. Moore was in that chair right before you.
Yes, absolutely. So. I said hi to him. Yeah, so exactly. You don't have H.D. Moores, running around.
Right.
So again, here to me, it's a question of strategy, right? What you do is you figure out what your organization capabilities are, what your aspirations are. Not everyone is going to want to become a house of red teaming experts. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's where you go out and outsource that need. And you make a plan for it. You say, okay, I'm going to outsource this kind of a need. These are my requirements. This is what I expect out of the company doing it. And then you figure out eventually, do you want to absorb that capability in-house? Just depending on your need.
Yeah, right.
Like if you're one of those software vendors who's releasing software very frequently, maybe that need is right, inside your organization to break that software before it goes out.
Yeah. So I heard this term yesterday, vibe red teaming. Which was an interesting term. I hadn't heard it before, but the concept was, how do you leverage AI in your red teaming exercises to help accelerate some of these tests? What do you think about that? Is that a viable strategy for people, is to use some of these AI capabilities to help kind of build out your red teaming capabilities at higher scale?
Yeah, I was waiting for the AI word. It's 10 minutes too late into the conversation, right?
We're only 9 minutes in, so we're good.
Yeah, okay. So yes, I think the AI can be leveraged, again, for this automated purpose that we are talking about.
Right.
Because people have been doing vulnerability management for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And one of the major things of vulnerability management, the outcomes, needs to be saying, how do I prioritize my patches? Whether they are actual patches, whether you're doing virtual patching through any other mechanism, right? And now the AI, right, it can learn these vulnerabilities if you have access to the right kind of, exploit testing tools.
Right.
Let's start with pen testing the first,
Right.
You can go and automate it, saying that, okay.
Automate the payload creation, right?
Exactly. The vulnerability is discovered,
Yeah.
the exploit goes out, figures out if the system is vulnerable, reports back. And so you basically get a map in your environment of something that's really vulnerable that it's attackable, exploitable, etc. And
Right.
that can kind of, the AI can then drive saying that, okay, here is what you need to do in terms of actions.
Right. Okay.
So
Good.
it is very much, and the same thing can be done even in terms of, the actual building of red teaming tools, etc.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk purple teaming for a second, because there's also been this movement about these red team, blue team combinations. And I'm seeing this evolution of even like these purple teaming platforms, right, where they can collaborate with each other. So you've got the offensive folks, red doing the red teaming exercises in coordination with the defenders on the blue teaming side. Where are we when it comes to, like I said, I've seen these kind of platforms start to come up, but then I haven't heard much about them lately. Is purple teaming still a thing?
Yes, I mean, purple teaming is still a word. I mean, it is still a culture that we really need to kind of embrace.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And why I say it's a culture, right? It's because, again, as I said, the industry, we have lived on the blue side for a long time.
Yes.
We have had, vulnerability management and a host of defensive controls for many, many years, right?
Yeah.
So this concept takes that and says, okay, hey, somebody go and really attack me, really look at my controls, test their efficacy, test how all other ways you can get into the environment, right? And there needs to be that collaboration between the two, a constant collaboration saying, hey, you know what, I was able to get in this way. How do we kind of, stop that?
Right.
So that dance is what's labeled today under the purple color, red
Right.
plus blue together.
Yeah.
And that needs to be, again, it need not be an internal capability.
Right.
You can kind of, think of providers of
Yeah.
red teaming. And my advice there would be to kind of treat them as your partners, treat them as internal part of your organization so that you have that stronger collaboration. And that's what would give the purple culture which is needed.
So if I'm looking to build out an offensive capability and look for red teaming, and I don't have the resources to do it, I can look for providers to do that. Would they bring then some sort of purple teaming platform that would be leveraged as part of coordinating the activities between your defense team and the service team? Do they bring their own kind of platform to bear on that front?
Yeah, I think everybody is different again here. Some of them actually are using tools. Some of them will have platforms so that
Yeah.
you have access to, results
Yeah,
and things
right.
like that later. There are also breach and attack simulation platforms
Yep,
in the
yep,
market, right?
yeah.
That's also to me another example of, similar
Yeah,
kind of an activity.
Right.
I tend to kind of go with less number of acronyms.
Yeah.
So like there is, red teaming, pen testing,
Well, see,
breach and attack
Gartner's starting to go
simulation.
to 4-letter acronyms now. So, now we got CNAP and CTEM, and so
Yeah,
they're going.
exactly,
They're
yeah.
moving away from TLAs. They're going to 4-letter acronyms now.
Yeah, sure. And there are many.
Yes, there are. Now, let's flip that question, right?
Okay.
I build a red teaming set of capabilities in-house. Now I should probably bring in my own platform to help from a purple teaming perspective, working with my defensive teams. Is that the right strategy for people who are building their own red teaming capabilities?
I would say so. I think a platform, what I think of platform is more like a utilitarian tool that facilitates, collaboration, that facilitates workflows.
Yeah.
So like when I find something out of my red teaming exercise, how do I easily communicate it to the blue
Right.
team, right?
Blue
For
team, yeah.
actions and stuff like that. So to me, that is where the platform plays a role.
I mean, I guess you could still
a
get
bridge.
your PDF report and scroll through the report and the findings,
Or
but that's
apply
not.
or apply AI to that.
Oh yeah, why not? I'll just
Yeah.
send the PDF to ChatGPT and let it just create a bunch of tickets in Jira for me or
Correct,
something. right?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So it can take any different, forms.
Form. Okay. But the main goal here is organizations really need to think about their offensive security strategies, because now regulations are starting to force this. And if you haven't thought about building an offensive security strategy, now's the time.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Rohit, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to learn more, please visit securityweekly.com/FortraBH. For all Black Hat 2025 coverage, please visit securityweekly.com/Black Hat. Rohit, thank you again.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, stay tuned. We're going to do the daily wrap up for day 2.